Welcome back, everybody. I am Flash, and this is the Wrestlefest podcast. Thank you for coming back. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. I'd very much appreciate that. So, this week in the world of professional wrestling, as going forward here, I'll be doing weekly recaps of things happening, the ons and goings of professional wrestling, including, recaps of the shows. Again, let me preface by saying I have a little bit of time to delegate to certain areas, projects in my life. So mainly going to be getting, what they're doing over in WWE, what we're doing in AEW, and I will do my best to fill that empty slot, which looks like Thursday, with Impact Wrestling. I'll do my best to get back into Impact Wrestling. With that said, let me just lead right off the top with Ring of Honor. Things are going on with ROH. Nobody knows, right? They said they're going to release all the wrestlers from their contract by the end of this year, 2021. What that means going forward after that for the company, who knows? They said they're going to come back, kind of rebrand, reload, see what they're going to do. Who knows what any of that means? This could be a good, and it has different ways this can be viewed. It's a good thing, it's a bad thing. It has its negatives, mainly the fact that ROH has been a good pipeline. Now, granted, while I haven't been deep in the ins and outs of some of the indie stuff, I am aware of the impact, no pun intended, that Ring of Honor has on the business. It's a great pipeline for talent to grow themselves, grow their character, kind of what they want to do with themselves in the world of professional wrestling before maybe, if they choose, stepping up to some of the mainline TV, right? Shows that are on TV, I should say. Of course, there was really just one big option for that, and that was WWE, right? But now that AEW has come along, the game has kind of changed a lot. That being said, I think AEW played a huge role in what is the hiatus, right, that Ring of Honor is about to enter into. Whether that means the complete death of Ring of Honor, who knows? But the way AEW functions and the way it operates allows for the talent to grow over there, right? They can use their real name. They just kind of can work on their character. They're allowed a lot of creative control. So it has kind of been a pseudo place where guys and girls can kind of go now and work on that kind of stuff. And Impact Wrestling as well. But it definitely has helped in the process of where Ring of Honor is at now. So again, what that means going forward, we don't know. We don't know where those wrestlers are going to end up. Some of them might go Impact, some might go AEW. Who knows where the talent pool will end up? Some of them might come back for the rebrand and be kind of the foundational crew there. We shall see. So that being said, and this being a kind of a recap show, right? Let's get right into Mondays. Let's get into Raw. I think Raw overall, and I'm not going to detail each match as I go along. I will mention certain matches and kind of point them out and kind of gloss over others. But Raw overall was pretty good. It has been getting better, as I've said over the weeks. I think the draft has helped. This is the quote-unquote season premiere for these shows, right? The new season of Raw officially happens now. So they opened up with a setup for kind of things to come in the evening, right? Big E comes out, and that's who you want leading off your show for your quote-unquote new season of Raw. Got your champion coming out, and then you have this person comes out, then this person comes, Seth Rollins comes out, I need a shot at the title. And Rey Mysterio comes out, Kevin Owens comes out, Finn Balor comes out, okay, right? So we know where this is going. So they set all that up, four-way fatal four-way main event with those said wrestlers, Winner, and ends up being a ladder match, which is cool too, but winner kind of take all in terms of getting their shot at the title, and more on that later. I'll close out with that, as far as my Raw segment goes. But they have there was also a triple tag match, right? So again, winner here gets a shot at the title. You got the Street Profits. I forgot who the other team was. Oh, Alpha Academy, and then Dirty Dogs. For some reason here, Omos interferes only with the Street Profits, allowing the Dirty Dogs to pick up the win. I'm not sure here what the bigger angle is, but I don't see the Dirty Dogs dethroning RK Bro. So I'm not sure what the plan is there. I don't know. We get a Becky and Bianca segment, which is good here. We get a more aggressive Bianca Belair. So what that means going forward, I think that lets the company take her character in whichever direction they see fit, right? If they decide that they want to just let Becky go back to natively being a babyface and maybe heel turn Bianca, I'm not sure. Bianca could easily go heel. I don't know. They found themselves in a very weird spot with these women. I don't know. We get a Zelina Doudrop rematch. I don't know what for. Zelina wins, not cleanly. She uses the scepter to get the win. I don't know. I wanted to touch on Damien Priest, okay, because he has a throwaway match with T-Bar for I don't know what purpose. He gets the win via DQ. And this match, or the after effects of this match, in my opinion, is to set up Damien. Opens that door for the setup for him to go heel. Because they show him kind of really taking it to T-Bar after this match has ended, in a very vicious fashion. The way you see him, they even did his makeup differently for this match, which it was a little bit more, I feel using the word demonic, but sure, let's use that. They're painting him where he has that, they're really leaning into the two sides of Damien angle, whereas before they really weren't doing it. It was just happy Damien Priest, right? But I think now they're saying, hey, we do that two-tone Damien Priest, light and dark thing for a reason, and he has a dark side, and here it is. I don't know what they plan to do with that. Again, it opens the door to allow him to go heel. Again, this is just a setup for that. This match meant nothing. This was just, again, throwaway match against a largely irrelevant opponent. So, Carmella fought Liv Morgan. I don't know why we're still doing this. I'm not even gonna, that's that. Keith Lee fought Cedric Alexander Keith Bearcat Lee destroyed Cedric Alexander. And he fought somebody last week. I don't remember. He destroyed them too. That's just all they've been doing. They've been setting up Bearcat to be a beast, which is fine. That's fair. You're setting him up to be aggressive and strong and athletic and good, because he's all of those things. I guess in a heel fashion as well. I'm not sure. I don't know. I think people like Keith Lee, so I think they'll attach to him even if he's heel. So I don't know what the end game is for Keith Lee. I don't know. Dominic fought Austin Theory. Who cares? We got the title match with Dirty Dogs and RK Bro because it was the same night, opportunity, and RK Bro won. I don't really see what the point was for all of the setup. I don't know. There's no payoff to that. Except, again, maybe for that long-term angle with the Street Profits I had mentioned in my Crown Jewel videos. So, we'll see. And, of course, now we get the 4-way main event. This was a very good match. This is a great way to close out your show. This is an excellent match, actually. I'm downplaying it. This was an excellent match. This you put Rey Mysterio in here not because you think he's going to win, but you put him in there for credibility. All right. Rey is a seasoned wrestler in this business. He is a veteran. He's held multiple titles, world titles, the whole 9 yards. He's a Hall of Famer. When the minute he's done, you could just put him in. Okay. So this leaves the other 3 guys as who is going to take you really think it's going to be Seth Rollins. I don't think anybody would argue there otherwise. Strong showing here for Kevin Owens, though, which I think was very important, because I think the company found themselves in a very weird spot of what to do with Kevin Owens. But Seth Rollins is riding hot right now. He's riding hot on the heel train, and you need to step into a category where you're setting up Big E with credible heel opponents. Now, I mentioned the importance of having him get credible wins as champion against credible opponents. Drew McIntyre was the first credible defense, and this next one here, Seth Rollins coming up. This next program with Seth and Big E is going to be very interesting. Seth maybe interferes in some of these matches, causes Big E to lose, yada yada yada. We go back and forth, setting up to a title match whenever. Probably Survivor Series. I don't know. I think this is good. Seth is a good opponent for Big E. And I'm very excited to see what they do with that going forward. So let's not dwindle on that too much longer. So I did watch NXT for a couple of reasons. One, as I mentioned before, if I'm going to try to give you guys as much informed information about what happened in the week, I'm going to try to watch as many programs as possible. And it was the Halloween Havoc show, and seeing as how I'm a huge fan of Halloween, I just went and watched it. Let me say something about NXT. I haven't watched 2.0 since they started a few weeks ago. I understand now why they've stripped NXT down to what it is. This is, and I think Vince really wanted NXT to truly be developmental. And no, that's what it is, okay? It's largely their developmental system. This is the minor leagues of WWE, except for the people at the top, right? The ones holding the titles. And I say, titles like the major titles, like the world, the men's world title and the women's world title. And then everybody else is kind of like trickled down of, you really got a ways to go, right? And I think the fans of NXT understand that, so they don't get on the talent for like making mistakes, maybe tripping up in promo, or again, physical mistakes in the ring. They don't, you don't hear like "you effed up" chants, because I guess the fans of NXT understand that this is a developmental thing, which is fine. That's fine, and that's great to have those fans that understand that. Because they kicked off with that 3-way tag ladder match for the women's tag team titles, and it was, for me, it was not great. I think it was good for what they were trying to do. The Toxic Attraction wins, but it was sloppy, and you can tell that, okay, you have to change your vision of how you approach watching NXT. Odyssey Jones fought somebody out of his weight class. I haven't been watching NXT, so pardon me if I just forget people's names. The guy who, I guess he's the cruiserweight champion or something of sorts. I don't know what the angle is with him, with Odyssey just kind of coming, because they would put out an open challenge and Odyssey came out and this whole thing like, oh, Odyssey Jones lost, and he only lost because this dude has like a whole entourage of people with him, and it was just outside interference, and otherwise there was no chance this guy was going to beat Odyssey Jones. Just leave that where it is. The women's title match was good. Okay, Raquel Gonzalez finds herself in a very interesting position at dropping the title here to Mandy Rose. because I think that's the cue for her to go up to one of the main shows, Raw or SmackDown. This is how this goes. The champion loses, they drop their title, they're ready to move up to the main roster. This probably is that moment for Raquel Gonzalez, but good match. And whether she shows up on the main show, I'm looking forward to that because she's good in ring. She's a good performer. There was a street fight, right? For somebody, was that the match that was the street fight? I think it was. Street fight matches are interesting because, yeah, it was that match. I'm sorry. Street fight matches are interesting because it's just like I like the premise, but I always hate the decision has to be made in the ring. Pinfall submission. You can go out to the parking lot, but we got to get back to the ring for the decision. What? Why? I don't know. I've never been a fan of that stipulation in those matches, but I guess they also help protect Raquel here because the win wasn't clean by Mandy because he got that interference from what turned out to be Dakota Kai. So again, maybe they hold off on immediately jumping Raquel to the main roster. Maybe have her do this little feud with Dakota and then go. I don't know. I'm not sure. I would. Then we got MSK, Imperium, Lumberjack title match here, which this was interesting. These are a couple good teams here. So it's this whole spin the wheel thing that is clearly pre-decided. But it was a Lumberjack match, and then they threw out the Lumberjacks like halfway or 3/4 way through the match, which I don't understand. I mean, granted, yes, I know it was kind of a brouhaha happening outside, and there was a lot of back and forth and a lot of maybe more interference than they needed to be, but is it not still a Lumberjack match? Why are we getting rid of the Lumberjacks? I digress. Like Imperium gets the win here, and these are a couple of good teams. This is good for this division. I don't know if either of these teams are roster ready or main roster ready, but good match nonetheless. And then you've got the highlight of the show, the main event, Tommaso Ciampa against Braun Breaker, aka Scott Steiner's son, for the championship. Now, good match, and let me just say, get straight to the finish where Breaker loses, and that's great because him losing shows that they're willing, at least for now, to play the long game with Braun Breaker, because you put the title on him now, or any title on him now, it kind of cheapens things down the road. He will be main right. He's got the rocket strapped to his back for obvious and good reasons. Okay, not just because of the lineage, but he's putting in the work and he's good. So I think that when the day comes, he'll be ready. I think that when the day comes, they won't Karrion Kross this. And yeah, I'm coining that phrase because they sent that man up to the main roster to die. Stripped him of everything that made him him, and nobody cares about him immediately. I don't know what they're gonna do with Karrion Kross, but they got to figure that out. I do not think that's gonna happen with Braun Breaker. Gonna build him up. Fans are well aware of his lineage, so he's ready. He's ready when it's time to make that decision. So kudos. So let's go to Wednesday. I was gonna for a second I was thinking maybe I should just do all of WWE and then jump back, but nah, let's Dynamite, AEW. Oh boy, what a show. AEW continues to do this right. They come out the gate strong and they finish strong. You got Bobby Fish and CM Punk that started this. Excellent match. As usual with these CM Punk matches, he's telling a story with headlocks and suplexes, body slams and suplexes. We're getting a story. We're getting pops from body slams because it's CM Punk. Bobby Fish had a nice strong. He's been having a strong few weeks, right? In defeat, but he's getting protected in these losses. Even in this match against CM Punk, he loses on a 3.5, kick out, right? But he's protected. It allows him to continue. Both characters come out the better after this match, that's exactly what you want. So what they do with Bobby Fish, who knows? But the CM Punk train keeps moving. We get a good segment with Cody, where he's been getting booed. This is now he will not turn. Okay, this is verbatim now. But the fans have been booing him. But it was a good segment because now a lot of fans weren't booing him by the end of the segment, halfway through, which I don't know. We'll see. This Cody thing. Cody needs a heel, a strong heel to take down. Somebody that the fans genuinely kind of hate. Not Malachi Black. The fans want to love Malachi Black. So, I don't know. Moxley fought 10 in the title tournament. He brutalized him, bit him. There was a bad blade cut. Although I think it was bad on purpose, because I think they want to show Moxley bit him, and this is crazy John Moxley. He came in, just burrowed through people, beat the living heck out of 10, kicked the barricade on his way out, and he's gone. I don't know if this is leading up to heel turn John Moxley, but they're setting it up. They're definitely setting it up. Sammy Guevara gets a win here and proceeds to get beat up. The Inner Circle runs in, right? Which is fine. But, we cue Jericho's music. And on their way out, pyro goes off. This is, shout out to, Mike the ref. I was on his watch along while this was happening. And we're all just like, oh, I didn't know you needed pyro for a run-in. They just need to use it. I use it during the run-in because we're not going to be out there any other time. So what? All right. And then the song plays the whole time. We gotta let the theme song play. The fans gotta get their whole thing in, while Jericho and the rest of them are just standing in the ring with Men of the Year on the ramp, just waiting for these cues to finish. But we're gonna get a 10-man tag match, Inner Circle, Top Gear, a top team at Full Gear, which is gonna be fine. I would love if we can get a second ref here. I think it's going to be, I want to say it's going to be like a street fight. I don't remember, but again, that whole stipulation, I think this match is going to need 2 or 3 referees. If there isn't, then it might be a mess. Let's just, again, I don't need to touch on every little thing, but let's just get to the main event. And this is, again, finishing strong. Dark Order versus the Elite. Now, again, this was the Wednesday before Halloween, and everybody's dressed up. Now, granted, I don't think this is something they planned to do, all along. I think this was like a day of decision, but this was awesome. We had the Kratos costume and the what's his name? Cabana was kind of dressed up as Brandon Cutler. He had the coal spray. It was fun. And then the Elite came out with their theme remixed, to the Ghostbusters theme, and they were all Ghostbusters. It was great. Okay, it was great. They had the proton packs, which they kind of fumbled in the ring a lot. They had them on, didn't have them on. It was kind of weird. Kenny was wrestling with the proton pack for a short stint. I'm like, take that off. That's dangerous. But it was cool. They had the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man costume come out, and it was good times. This wasn't as out of control as these matches usually are, but not bad altogether. Great match, just as usual. But I like the double switch here. I saw this happening. Everybody was like, Mike was like, hey, where's the horse? Oh, we forgot about the horse. The horse is Hangman Page. And then I saw, as all of this is happening, things are breaking down after, I saw the Stay Puft get into the ring. I'm like, well, that's weird. That's not Brandon Cutler. There's no way. I'm like, that's Hangman Page. I knew it right away. Right? And then the horse came running out, and everybody's like, oh, this is and then they took the head off the horse, and it was Brandon Cutler, his mouth taped up, and they're like, oh. And then Stay Puft, he takes the mask off, and it's Hangman Page, and he hits his move on Kenny Omega and the whole thing, and that was cool. It was a good way to end. It was a good little twist there that a lot of people did not see coming in that fashion. I like the double twist there. That was fun, definitely. So let's move to Friday, and we've got SmackDown, we've got Rampage. Let's start with SmackDown. Charlotte kicking off this new era here, the SmackDown post-draft, the women's champion. She's doing her Charlotte stuff. Sasha Banks comes out. Me, I love Sasha. And it's like, oh, then they do that usual back and forth, and I've given you all these chances, blah, 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 blah. We need some new faces. Shotzi comes out. Riding the tank, of course. TCB, right? She gets a shot against Charlotte. Okay, Sasha's at ringside, kind of cheering her on, coaching her up, whatever, keeping her focused. It's kind of weird, but whatever, we'll go with it. It was kind of like a spot at the end. It was like, oh, she's gonna run into Sasha, so it's like kind of weird interference, and then Shotzi loses because of it, yada yada yada. She beats up Sasha, much to the dismay of the fans in attendance. So I think first of all, during the match, I would say it's a strong showing by Shotzi. Charlotte was holding up most of this match, but Shotzi was holding her own decently, I will say. When you're in there against the best, literally the best of the best, you gotta just kind of hold on, right? But she had a good showing. Charlotte put her over well, I think, and she proceeds to beat the mess out of Sasha afterwards. Again, fans didn't like that. I think we like Sasha again. I think, it's going to be boss time here going forward. So I think Shotzi gets a little, like kind of a short program here with Sasha. But she's getting a push, I think. I think with this split here, you have to find new faces to put into the picture. All right, we can't just keep recycling these same matches over and over again. Drew McIntyre beat up Mustafa Ali. And I say that just because I feigning calling it a match. It was just Drew McIntyre, open challenge, Mustafa Ali comes out. Again, I have no idea. I knew he was going to lose to Mansoor at Crown Jewel. I didn't know what they were going to do with him going forward. Getting beat up by Drew McIntyre was his first order of business. So, excuse me. I don't know what this was for. And then, he gets on the mic after and says, oh, you don't like me because my name is Mustafa Ali. Okay, I don't know if that was a race shot thing or I don't know. That was weird. So I'll leave that there. I don't know what they're doing with him. We get the Trick or Street fight with Nakamura and Boogs, against Happy Corbin and Madcap Moss. I don't even remember who won this match. Oh, Corbin and Madcap, right? Because we got interference from, what's that tag team's name? I don't remember. They're on the come up. But we need people in the tag team division. And I don't know if this is these aren't natural teams. And when I say that, I'm referring to like Corbin and Madcap and Nakamura and Boogs. I don't. And what do they do? Can we find a opponent for Nakamura as opposed to just these gimmicks every week? I don't like. Who's in the IC title picture? We haven't talked about this title in weeks. I don't know. Hopefully Survivor Series will do something. And then this Naomi and Sonya Deville thing. Naomi fights Shayna Baszler. We know she's gonna lose. Sonya comes out and is like, oh, there's no ref, I'm the ref. Okay, we know where this is going. Fast 3-count victory. Naomi gets up in her face, Shayna chokes her out. I don't know where this is going. I still don't know. Are we eventually leading this up to a Sonya returning to the ring match against Naomi? Like, for something? But what is the something? This is just filler. This is just filling space. And poorly, in my opinion. I don't know. And then we get the match of the night. The New Day against the Usos. First of all, let me quickly touch on the segment from earlier that led to this, which is Xavier crowning Kofi, knighting him as Sir Kofi. And we get the Sir Kofi chance, which is great. And Usos interrupt, blah, 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 blah. So here we are. Listen, any and every time you get the New Day and the Usos, you're going to end up with it just being a gem, and this was no different than that. As we get the usual great match that we get from these two teams, the New Day picks up the win, which is great for whatever that means for the division going forward. Again, we're going to need opponents for the Usos because they're holding the tag titles, and I don't remember the last time they actually defended them. So we'll see how that pans out going forward. SmackDown, good as usual. No complaints really. Some weird dead spots, but fine overall. And let's close out the week with Rampage. Man, they cram a lot into this hour. They really do, and for the better, because they have to, but it's not overdone, which I like that. So we open up Rampage with Eddie Kingston against Bryan Danielson in a continuation of the tournament for the world title contender. So classic match here, right? These guys they're no strangers to one another. This was a fantastic match. I loved every second of it. I love some Eddie Kingston. Of course, I said New York bias in me being from New York. But first of all, quarter way through this match, if even that long, Eddie Kingston lit up Danielson's chest to the point where it was just like there were blood vessels just bursting below the surface. To say his chest was a beet red was an understatement. It was lashed well by Kingston. And again, great match. Eddie was defiant till the end, succumbs to the submission, the triangle choke out, and just a great match. And then there was this interesting backstage thing where CM Punk was getting interviewed, and Eddie interrupted the interview angrily, and CM Punk obviously is not going to back down to that. I'm not sure what that was about. I'm sure we'll get more in the coming weeks. If we get an Eddie Kingston CM Punk match, that would be something. I also think that's a pay-per-view worthy match. CM Punk's opponents have been quality opponents for different reasons. But I think if you put him in the ring with an Eddie Kingston, that has to be on a paper. Like, you can put that on Full Gear and it be legitimized. And that would be an epic match, I think. Personally, But from there we get Dante Martin against Matt Seidel again in this Lio Rush thing here. Dante Martin gets the win. There's this weird dynamic between Dante Martin and Lio Rush. It's almost like Dante Martin is hypnotized, right? And every now and again he comes out of it and he has this look where he looks at Lio like kind of disheveled and like why am I here? Like, I don't know. I don't think I should be doing this. And then like 10 seconds later, Lio hypes him up and he's like, yeah, and he's excited and he's like happy. If this was WWE like 20 years ago, I would say he's under a spell, right? That's the gimmick they're going for. And I don't know what happens when Dante's brother comes back. Does him and Lio get into a fight? Does this trance that Lio has over Dante, does it now translate to both of them? And he's just leading this tag team. Will Lio ever wrestle? I don't know. I don't know what's happening here. It's just getting weird. I don't know. It's a dynamic where Dante looks uncomfortable and then he doesn't. And he looks sad and then he doesn't. I don't know. This is just strange. And then we get the main event, which again, shout out to AEW because they are not afraid to let their women close out the show. And that just shows the confidence that they have in their women's division, which I think is bold, and it's something that you don't often see in the mainstream world of professional wrestling. So it's good to see. And I know it's just Rampage, but still, it's warrant for conversation because they've done it with Dynamite. They've closed out the show with the women on Dynamite, so they will do it. So we get Dr. Britt Baker against Abaddon in a thicker treat match. Trick or treat match, street fight, whatever. Why are all these matches street fights? Good match. Abaddon is, to say she's an interesting character, I guess, is kind of an understatement. That's what she's portraying here. This was just a good match, good in the ring. I love the kind of the monster gimmick where, she gets hit with a chair but will sit right up. This was a good match. She was protected because it wasn't a clean win. Dr. Britt Baker gets the win here, but again, it's not clear. Got her cronies with her by ringside, and of course they interfere. It's no DQ, so what are you gonna do? Abaddon loses, but she's protected. Dr. Britt Baker is on to whatever she's on to after this. I think I feel like she's got a title match with somebody coming up, or she should. Okay, whatever. Good shows for the most part throughout the week. If you understand NXT is what it is, it is no longer the show that's going to compete with the bigger shows. It's developmental. Okay. NXT is the televised version of AEW's AEW Dark. Except AEW Dark actually puts their mainstream wrestlers on that show. So that in itself is probably a bad comparison, because what you see on AEW Dark is probably, you still get better match quality than what you're getting on NXT 2.0 right now. So that being said, good shows this week. My favorite is probably Dynamite. I really liked Rampage. It's just tough to give the 1 hour show the nod for the week, because if they miss even one of the usually just 3 scheduled matches, it derails. It doesn't derail the whole thing, but it kind of, But I really liked what they did on Rampage. Dynamite was great. Dynamite was probably my favorite show this week. SmackDown was, SmackDown was okay. It was decent. It was fine. It was par for the SmackDown course. Raw was okay. And that's it. Very simple. It's very simple. It's going to be very simple what we do here. Again, I will decide in the coming weeks here if I am going to implement Impact. I'm going to have some catching up to do. Yes, I know some of the names. I already know some of the people that are on Impact. Obviously, these are people that have been in other companies. They've been in WWE. They've been around the block and, in the world of wrestling. But I'm not sure, if it's just something I have time for. We shall see. We'll find out next week, right? When I'm back with another wrestling recap. So that is all. I am Flash. This is the Wrestlefest podcast. Thank y'all for hanging out with me and spending some time talking about some wrestling here. Or listen to me talk about wrestling, right? But get in the comment section and let's all talk about wrestling, right? I'll be glad to answer, questions, continue a conversation about some things, and whatever you guys want to talk about, I'll be more than happy to talk about. All right. So make sure and if you guys like, I'd appreciate that. Subscribe, appreciate that too. Share this if you see fit with whoever whoever you think might like this content. And that's it. So thank y'all, and I will talk to y'all next week.